Hello guys, welcome to another video, and I feel like I needed to do a video about Myles Lewis Skelly because it feels like Arsenal fans have forgotten how good this kid is. We often talk about the likes of Chidi B. Martin, Ethan Wanyeri and other ballers in our academy, but Myles Lewis Skelly kind of goes under the radar. But before I begin and get into Myles, if you are new here, please smash the subscribe button, smash the like button and turn on those notifications. It'll be very much appreciated. So without further ado, let's begin. Myles Lewis Skelly is a midfielder who can play in the 6 and the 8 role. He currently plays for the under 23s and he's played for the under 18s, especially in the FA Youth Cup, and I really like him. I feel like he's a very unique profile. When I think of Myles Lewis Skelly and watch him, what comes to my mind straight away is the Tottenham midfielder Moussa Dembele. You remember him? He was a quality player on the ball. He just had so much strength and so much, assertiveness in his actions. And I know a lot of us Arsenal fans will know about Moussa Dembele and how good he was on the ball. The amount of times he's able to manipulate the ball, win penalties, is so important sometimes, and he had that energy as well. And I feel like Myles Lewis Skelly can really be molded into that sort of player. Sometimes you need someone with fantastic ball carrying abilities, and Myles Lewis Skelly certainly has that. And he also has the goal threat too, which is also a really interesting part of his game. He has the ability to get into the box, add a bit of a box threat if needed, especially in England's run to the final of in Arsenal's run to the FA Youth Cup final under Jack Wilshere. He was instrumental getting into the box, scoring late goals, and he really helped our cause, and we were so close to winning that competition, but he was really influential. And I feel like us as Arsenal fans, we're looking for that player that can play the number 6 role and also play a number 8 role. And my mind goes to Lewis Skelly. He's 17 years old. He's very, very young. I know we talk about youngsters, but he is young. Maybe that's a factor. But when you're seeing players like Lamine Yamal playing for Spain, you can't help but think surely our Gunners are good enough to come into the lineup. I feel like he'll do really, really well, especially with Declan Rice behind him. You've got Myles in the left, number 8, and then Martin Odegaard in the right, number 8. It will be such an exciting thing. And I hope Arteta takes him to pre-season training or the pre-season tour, because I've not really seen much about it. I don't know if he's actually going to go. With Ethan Wanyeri, it is expected he will go, but if Myles Lewis Skelly doesn't go, that will be really disappointing, because I feel like he really can get some minutes, especially with our key players, just done with the Euros. They won't be back for the US tour, I don't think, or with their holidays and all of that. So I feel like Myles Lewis Skelly's opportunity will be on the US tour and against some really tough opposition, because next season's big for him and Ethan Wanyeri. I feel like this is the time they can really spurge on and get their career on track with us and get some minutes, the Carabao games, the FA Cup games, the games where we're just leading. You can count on them to come in as well for a couple minutes too. I feel like this is the season. I think I will be a lot more critical of Mikel Arteta, that if he doesn't use them, that's just so disappointing. You're sending out a poor message to the rest of the youngsters. Last season, I let Mikel Arteta really get away with that, because I feel like, the first season really back in the Champions League, we were still going for the title. It's a bit tentative, so you don't really want to throw in the youngsters, but we've had that now. We've had that experience. So now is the opportunity. When we were 5-0 up against PSV, it was so disappointing not to see Ethan Wanyeri and Myles Lewis Skelly come onto the pitch, because we were really struggling in that 8 role. Xhaka, it wasn't really clicking for him, Vieira had a couple games there, wasn't really clicking for him there. It was only when Declan Rice moved there and Jorginho came into the 6, we started to see a lot more connectivity between the midfield and the forward line. And I was thinking, why not throw Myles Lewis Skelly into it? Sometimes throwing these players into the deep end is the best sort of way for them to acclimatize to the game. And I feel like somebody like Myles Lewis Skelly is probably the best to do that with, because he's really good with his body. He knows how to use his body, and he can really translate that into the men's game, and he has a lot of technical ability as well. I feel like that's really underrated. Mikel Arteta himself has said that he can see Myles Lewis Skelly playing an inverted left back role. I don't know this thing with Arteta and inverted left backs, but the fact he sees that in Myles Lewis Skelly shows the ability and the trust he has in him. He's a player who's got a lot of strength, a lot of skill, but he also has the technical ability and the football brain to invert into midfield if needed and just play football. There's these young kids from Hale End really have the football brain, and it's really nice to see. I just can't wait until we can properly use them. And Myles Lewis Skelly, he's known as one of the best, players in his age group. If you go through the England youths, he's one of the players who's counted on the most. So he's already got that experience and that pressure on his shoulders, and he's really delivering for the under 23s, especially with that pressure. So I feel like now is the time for him to come in, try him with the senior boys. The Odegaards are going to be there, the Parteys, the Rices. This is the perfect time, you know, next season where we've kind of got our rhythm. We should really, for me, I feel like we've got to have a decent lead going into Christmas. I feel like this year it has to be the Premier League for us. The last 2 seasons, okay, we were close, but now is the year. We can't let Manchester City get away with it. We've learned from our mistakes. We've got quality players. We've got a good youth system going on. We've signed a lot of youth players, and we've got really, really specific talents in there. The Nwanieris and the Lewis Skellys, they're ready. You know, left-footed interior, can play in those half spaces as well. Really good at breaking the lines. I feel like that's another thing with Myles Lewis Skelly, is how good he is at breaking the lines. You know, it doesn't come easy to players, the ability to play into the pockets of spaces, finding your players, you know, finding it, firing it into your number 9s, and Lewis Skelly certainly has that. And another thing which really impressed me is his ball striking as well. Really good ball striking. Maybe not as clean as you'd want it to be for a midfielder, but he's got that in his locker. He can really develop under Mikel Arteta, and I feel like he, out of the Ranieri's and Chidi Obi Martins, is actually the one I'm really more, you know, interested in him, because I feel like that's a position we need the most. We've got the likes of Odegaard, who's kind of Nwaneri light, you know, sort of player. We've got Havertz, we've got Nketiah, we've got strikers there, Jesus. So Chidi Obi Martin can really wait. It's more Myles Lewis Skelly. I feel like he has the fundamentals to be a top player, strong, ball carrying, ball striking, you know, football brain as well. He's just got all the sort of things you'd want in a midfielder, and he's got the ball playing abilities, especially playing into between the lines, knowing where to position himself. You know, he's got that responsibility on the ball as well, which is a massive thing. So I feel like for me, Myles Lewis Skelly is a player a lot of Arsenal fans aren't really looking at, a player who I think can really break in and have a good season next season for the first team. He has a lot of talent and a lot of learning to do, and I feel like Mikel Arteta can really mold him into a top player. But anyway, guys, that's it for now. Let me know your thoughts on Myles Lewis Skelly. Are you excited like I am for him? I feel like he's one of the best ballers we've had in the academy. I know that Max Diamonds as well is another really good midfielder, but Myles Lewis Skelly, I feel like he's ahead in his development and can really be a problem and really be a threat in our first team. But that's it for now, guys. Until next time, peace.